Good morning, happy Wednesday, another Wednesday. Here we are again in this world where we as parents and carers are at home with children who would mostly have been at school and are mostly at the moment at home with us, in a world where we have been both parents and carers and educators. And so today, for me, it's, I have to keep checking this, it's the 68th day that, the 68th working day of the week that our family's been in lockdown. And this is the 67th video that I've made, where I've just been talking at the camera to share with anyone who's finding things maybe like me a little bit difficult, or looking for ways to get through, finding ideas for how we educate our children when they're at home. So I've been here doing this, and this is the last week I'm going to be doing this, because for the Scottish schools we break up on Friday. Well, in my authority we break up on Friday. Some Scottish schools are breaking up today. And there was a bit of a major ruction yesterday in Scotland, because suddenly the Deputy First Minister in charge of schools said, unexpectedly, we want as much of a full return to school as we can get in August if the virus continues to decline. And remembering we're in this because of a global pandemic, and that's still there. I think it's important to remember that. So what happened yesterday was something very unexpected for many of us. And there's a whole load of stuff happening now, emotions, and I think some of it is that as parents and carers, we love the idea that our children can go back to school full time and see their friends and see their teachers and start learning back in ways that they did before. And some of us will have, absolutely said, yes, that's what we want. But equally, flip side of it is when you get what you thought you want, you start to wonder whether it was what you wanted. Because the flip side as protectors of our children is that we'll now be thinking, oh, but hang on, I thought I wanted it, but is it going to be safe? And it's okay to say that. It's okay to say, oh, I thought I wanted that, but actually I'm not sure. Because at the moment, there'll be a lot of emotional stuff going on. So what can we do? What can we do with all of this noise? And, if you're a teacher, you might have planned really carefully for going back for 2 days a week for some children and 2 days a week for others. And you've got all those plans, and then suddenly, and it was suddenly yesterday, you're told, well, actually, it might be different. Disappointment, maybe. Disappointment, frustration, exhaustion. Because actually, how could we plan for something that's 6 weeks away in the middle of a global pandemic when we genuinely don't know what it's going to look like in 6 weeks? Very, very difficult. Very difficult. So what can we do? Well, it's a bit boring. We can get through today. We can focus on what's in the house. We can focus on those that are close to us who we love. We can focus on ourselves, remembering to breathe. Breathe out that frustration, that annoyance, that anger, that it's not fair, that I want this to end. I want it to go back to normal. We can breathe that out, and we can do what we can do today. And that's hard because we as adults today might be feeling quite dysregulated, because things outside our control are all there, and we're thinking, and we want to be able to control, we want to be able to protect our children, we want the best for our children. But remember, we're always thinking about the best interests. What's best for my child right now might be different to in 6 weeks' time, and that's why it's difficult. because there's still a global pandemic. So what we know we can do as adults is to be there for our children, to do that most important job, to think how we're going to show up this morning at breakfast, or perhaps we've done that already hours ago if you've got little ones, you're probably not for hours. How are we going to get through? How are we going to make it the best it can be? What plan are we going to have for today? And I'm just going to read something to finish. This is from something I wrote a while back, and I think I've mentioned this before, but in my life I've sometimes found the whole idea of what I can control and the idea of control out there quite tricky. And as a teacher, as a person, as a mum. So a few years back I wrote something to try and make sense of my own story, which I self-published as a book. That sounds very glamorous, it really wasn't. Not many people have read it, which is fine. But some people who have read it have found it useful because they're a little bit like me. So this is just the bit which I think is most relevant to us as adults. Education is everything. We can't and shouldn't simplify it and talk of it being the job of either teachers or parents. We need to accept that our job as adults is to be honest with children and help them negotiate the complexity ahead. It is our job to develop in each child the skill to know and understand himself, the tools to express herself, and the strategies to meet challenges along the way. And it is our job to talk openly and honestly, so that if and when bad things happen, children know to talk about them, so they do not become a source of guilt, a life-stealing force, a legacy of hidden pain and shame. And shame's a big word there, because when we're feeling stuff, one of our reactions can be to blame someone else, to take those uncomfortable feelings and put them onto someone else because we don't know what to do with them. And shaming and blaming and othering others. So whether we want to blame the politicians or the teachers or the head teachers who told us things and now they're telling us, or we can just say, it's complex and I'm finding that difficult. But that's okay. Find something today to get you through, to make you laugh, to see the positives, to look at those people around you and to celebrate the good things in them and in yourself. Have a great Wednesday.